Well, good morning, everyone. This is an October 19th meeting of the Orleans Cultural District, a town committee of the town of Orleans. And we appreciate the town's support in allowing us to have this, our first Zoom meeting. And we have our chairperson, Joanna Keeley, here. Joanna, would you raise your hand, please?
Raising right here.
And our treasurer, Claire O'Connor Rice.
Right here.
And we have Norma, I'm sorry, Quinn, not Quinn.
Win.
And Bonnie Campbell Runyon. And I'm sorry, I'm blanking.
Gail Gibson. So far.
Yes, and we're perhaps going to be joined by a couple of more members. So I'd like to call the meeting to order at 10:04 a.m. I'm Sherry Rhino. I've been serving on the committee since our inception back in 2013, one version of the committee or another with Joanna. The first item on the agenda is the approval of the minutes of our March 9th, 2020 meeting. And do I hear a motion to approve them?
Cher, we don't have a copy of the minutes and Pam is our secretary, so I would move that we postpone the approval of the March 9th minutes.
Okay, so would we simply like to table that?
Yes.
And who is taking the minutes today?
Do we have a volunteer to take today's minutes?
I'll do it.
Thanks, Bonnie.
Okay,
Thanks, Bonnie.
all right. Well, then that will come up later. The second item on the agenda is the report of our treasurer, Claire.
Okay, well, you all got the copy of the report that we sent to the state for the end of last year's grant. And this year, as you know, most of our money got frozen because of COVID, but the town is allowing us to encumber it. So we have a total of $3,744 in our account. It is all encumbered as required by the state in the following way. We have 3 additional banners for the signorama. We have the new design sign from the state, an extra state design sign for $250. We have the update of the print of the I Spy map for $350. And then we have other grant items that are on pause because of COVID. And those were the Art Week with Coastal Craft Gallery, 10 free sessions with artists for $900. Bonnie, I can give you this in a text. The commissioning the seasonal sculpture, the baseball figure for $1,000, coordination of old firehouse activities for $520, and the added money for marketing, advertising, and promotion of $289, which would allow us to fully spend out the grant that we had received. So that's a total of $3,744. Now, there was some money that was prepaid out of the 2019 grant that is still with the vendors, but we are waiting for deliverables. And that includes $750 for the OCD map revision, the banners for the town, which is at Signorama, for $1,586.20, and an account at Friends Marketplace for catering for $287.17. So that's what we've got. So we've got a lot of money available to us, no new money coming in from the state. And so we'll have to look at what we can actually deliver on what we've got out here.
Claire, thank you so much. That's a great review. Everything is on COVID pause, but
Hi, Mary.
oh yay!
For joining us.
I don't see her yet.
So Claire, we do we have some funds available for any agenda items that might require it, or? is
We'd
that-
have to readjust the items that we've got in the, from the grant budget, not the money that's encumbered already, which was a little over $1,000, but we have other additional money, 2,700 about, that has not been paid out yet, but we had indicated to the state what we were going to be spending it for, and we would have to adjust that.
Just so that everyone's clear, so for the fiscal year that the state is now in, from 2020 to 2021, we do not anticipate new revenues coming to us.
No.
Okay. Is everyone clear on that?
So it really, we don't have anything to work with, do we? Unless we release a plan that we've already made. Is that true? I mean, everything.
Right.
Looks like there's no new revenue unless we go and raise it.
Right, but some of
Okay.
the items that we've got in the treasury are items that are on the agenda, so we can talk about that further.
Right.
Okay.
We did attend a little review seminar that Luis Cotto is doing every other Thursday. He is the director of the cultural districts in the state, and he sent just a paragraph or two out a month ago and said, and I think, Gail, you asked about that because he doesn't anticipate any money for the cultural districts this year. And so he suggested that cultural districts write small, meaning like under 500, because cultural councils don't have a huge budget, but they do get a grant every year, and they will get a normal grant this year. So Luis suggested that the cultural districts write small grants to the cultural councils. And the last date for that is November 16th. So Gail, I think you asked about that earlier in the year.
Yeah.
And it is, if we decide there's something we want to write a small grant for, we could apply to the cultural council for funds.
Okay. Okay. Yeah, I think my question was how small is small, but 500, under 500 is the parameter. That's fine.
I think it stands a good chance of passing. I mean, being approved, or at least partially.
Sure.
And especially because it's directly related to Orleans, so.
Yes.
Is there any further discussion, or can I entertain a motion to accept the treasurer's report this morning?
Fine with me.
I move that we accept the treasurer's report.
Is there a second, please?
Second, I'll second.
Moved by Joanna, seconded by Gail. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Hi.
Opposed? They pass unanimously. Thank you very much, Claire. Your pro tempore treasurer job has.
I know. I'm really looking to give it up, guys. I mean, this is not my specialty, but I'm sticking with it.
Unfortunately, when you do it well, you.
Well, thank you. And it's getting tricky as we cross a couple of different years, and
Yeah.
Right.
It is. That's, I think that, I mean, I think these items come up in the current status report, and we can talk about them as we move through the agenda.
Right.
Is this the time that I need to ask the person who's facilitating our Zoom meeting from the town to allow Mary Hartford to have
Is Mary,
sharing?
I don't see her listed. Is Mary on?
Mary's on.
Mary's on.
Oh, okay, good.
All of us who are participating on the OCT have, on my computer.
There you are. Hi,
got
Mary.
this all. But the next item on the agenda has to do with the current status of various projects in the district. And the first one listed is banners update and status, Mary Hartford. So,
Mary, oh,
She doesn't have her audio on, maybe.
turn on your audio.
Can't hear you.
just to make sure everyone knows, the meeting is being recorded. That's part of what bodies do when they have Zoom meetings.
It's showing, this is Sarah, it's showing that she has
Test.
audio connected, but
Oh, there she is.
Test. Am I here? Okay.
Yeah.
Mary.
Okay, so
Well, just give Mary a
I
minute
think,
to
I thought I only had one microphone. I guess I have two.
you have screen sharing there, Mary, for your visual presentation of the banners and
Okay, let me just get this.
Oh,
I am
wonderful.
impressed. I'm impressed.
Oh, Mary,
yes, wow.
can we do an
all
applause?
right, well, so this will be a presentation on the banner placement study by Mary Harper.
You've seen this exact thing back in January or February when we actually met in person, and it's revised. Since then, I've spoken with George Meservey, the town planner, and he had some ideas about what he would like to see. And so we're kind of still in the discussion phase of going back and forth with him about what we want, what he wants. And we're not very far apart on that, but we're still working with him. And so the banner committee is Sherry Rhino and Joanna Keeley and myself. And I have kind of dropped the ball on this, honestly. I have not felt great this summer, and I've had some back problems. So I'm sorry I've dropped the ball on it, but it's not George's fault. We don't have the banners up, it's mine. So moving ahead, let's just take a peek at this. And this is what we had talked about earlier, why we wanted the banners. And this is sort of a presentation that when it's tightened up, when we get it absolutely nailed down, we'd like to submit this to the select board so they can, that's kind of why we all know what these goals are. I just put these in for them so that we can just kind of keep on track for this whole thing. So creating visual markers, and the part of the banner project that we're working on now is C2C. So it's Rock Harbor to East Orleans, which is the vital part of our connections through the cultural district itself, which is, keep in mind, that's the point of the banners, is to celebrate and emphasize the cultural district. It's not about every restaurant. It's not about every business. It's our task is clearly just the cultural district. A lot of those things obviously have to do with the cultural district, but we just have to keep clear on what our mission is here. And also the wayfinding piece is a big part. George says that the Cape Cod Commission is actually working on some of this wayfinding with the town, and we don't want to step on any toes there. So that's part of what the pushback from the town is a little bit. But these particular 5 points are the ones that we wanted to emphasize, because people coming to town for the first time may not be able to find any of these 5 locations because there really is no signage about any of this. And this is what the banner looks like. You'll note that generally the cultural district logo, that's the circle there on the banner, it's actually repeated in the banner, which is nice. And the words Orleans Cultural District have to go with the logo. But we were able to have a discussion around that where we are able to separate that for the use of this banner. So the words Orleans Cultural District can go where the words Teresa's Way is, to just really punch it out, and then just have the logo by itself in the corner. So most of the banners would look like that. If you guys have any questions, just go right ahead and have at it. So here we are, Rock Harbor. This is pole A, which is, I'm calling pole A for lack of a better thing. So that's at the top of the launch ramp, which seems like a really good place for one of these banners. That's where the steel drum band plays in the summer, and the CG 36-500 is just to the right of that. So those are all part of our cultural celebration here in Orleans. So that one seems like an obvious one. And then it gets a little, my pictures are a little waxed. So there's pole A. I made pole A in red. And then, so on the left-hand picture, pole B is right next to this Rock Harbor Charter Service. That doesn't need a Rock Harbor sign. It says so right on the sign there.
Yeah.
So when I turned around, just to orient you, on the right-hand picture, you can see where pole B is. So pole C, which is closer to the Church of the Transfiguration and all the amazing cultural events that happened there, seems like a better location for a second cultural district sign. So
Mary, can I just ask you a question? So you're saying that the banner would say the Orleans Cultural District, it wouldn't say Rock Harbor?
well, okay, so that was another thing that George had suggested, which actually the banner committee looked at this probably 5 years ago. It's having it a double pole banner. So instead of a single banner that says Orleans Cultural District, it would have on one side of the pole, it would say Orleans Cultural District banner. On the other side, it would say Rock Harbor. To match, they would obviously be, they would look good together. The design would be the same. But the place name would be on a separate thing next to it is what he's suggesting.
A separate banner?
Yeah, but on the same pole. So it would be like a double hung.
Okay.
Design.
They're back to back?
Sort of side to side, yeah.
Okay,
Oh,
side to
to
side.
side.
So on one side of the pole, like on the sidewalk side of the pole, it might say Orleans Cultural District, and on the street side of the pole, it would say Depot Square or Rock Harbor.
Oh, okay. So it's on two sides of the pole, really, like
Right.
front, back. Sort
Yep.
of. Yeah.
So when you're driving down the street, you'd be able to see both banners.
Hmm. That's great.
And
Be
who's
balanced
paying for
for-
those, Mary?
We are.
Okay, because I thought we were just paying for one banner on one pole. So
That was the idea, but now we're getting some ideas from the town. So
okay.
I'm just throwing these
Okay.
ideas out, just the messenger.
Yep. No, just checking. I'm writing the minutes.
Okay, so that's Rock Harbor. Then Depot Square. In the original thing I showed you in January, we had talked about 1 and 2, but now we're just trying to concentrate on that Main Street corridor and not go down Old Colony Way. So
Mhm.
we're looking at only Depot Square number 2 now, which is a decorative light pole. That was another one of George's comments was let's use the town poles. Let's not mess with Eversource if we can help it. So these are all town poles. And that's so you can see where it would be actually.
Yeah.
I think I need to remove that slide. Sorry about that. Okay, then Main Street Square, and I'm calling this Main Street West just to try to locate it for people.
Oh, I like that. Next to Westies.
Well,
Mhm.
that's true. This is the Main Street Square sign that banner that would have Main Street Square on one side and Orleans Cultural District on the other.
Perfect.
And then
I'm sorry, Mary, I'm really slow on this one side and the other. So when I hear one side and the other, I'm thinking the front of one banner and the back of that banner. And you're saying that's not true. So that it would be two banners so that does it go on both sides of the pole? Is that how
Yes,
you
so-
see it?
so the bracket is like a T on the pole.
Okay,
Okay, I didn't
Okay.
see that either.
all right,
Comes down on either side of the T. So on one side is one banner, double-sided
Okay.
that says the same thing, and the other side of the T has the other.
okay,
Cool. Cool.
great.
Okay, so this is the entrance to Main Street Square. This is Mahoney's you all know where we are, right?
Yeah,
Okay. That's the same pole again, just kind of an up close.
Mhm.
and the town poles are tall enough that the banners would not get in the way of people like on bicycles going by or
Oh.
whatever?
Yes, yeah, they'll be fine.
Okay,
Yeah, that's a standard. I think it's a 16-foot. It's okay. And the people who are printing the banners know the size of the light pole. I sent them the specs on it.
okay,
This is another one that this is on 6A. Now this one,
Yeah,
personally, I would like to see this happen. If it doesn't happen in this iteration, it needs to happen in the next batch of banners that run along 6A. But I just find that the Main Street Square I have given so many people directions to that place, to that parking area that has, and it's full of cultural assets. So it just
Okay.
seems to me we should get a banner on that pole because it's right next to the hole-in-one. There, it's where that turnoff is that nobody can ever find if you're not from here.
oh,
So
right,
All right.
it's a tough one. And there's Oceana's huge back there.
Right.
Oceana, Coastal Craft, Gallery
Gallery
31.
Is what does George
Park
say about that
District
one?
Gallery.
Does he want to include that in his original
He's
list?
not crazy about that one.
Well, I think part of the issue he has probably is that we have to go to the, to Eversource or whoever, or the state for permission for that one. Is that
That
probably
may
the
be
case?
part of it, but in every other town on Cape Cod, that's what they've done.
I
So,
agree with you completely. I think we say, we're sorry, George, we disagree with you.
yeah, I mean, he may have some other reasons that have to do with the fact that it's a state road, and that's a different
Right.
reason
Uh,
altogether.
Mhm.
Whereas Main Street is not. So I know he's trying to keep it local to probably make it go a little more smoothly the first go round. But at some point, we're going to need banners down 6A as well.
Absolutely.
Okay, so here we are. I just wanted to bring that one up. That one's in question, in play right now, and there it is again.
Mhm.
It's a tough thing to find. You can drive right by that.
Yep.
Excuse me.
Maybe a backup plan might be to get another pole at some point, if the pole is the issue. For those
Maybe.
kinds of instances, not today, but
Excuse me just one sec. I'll be right. I just have to.
So, yeah, I mean, I guess you could almost put a pole where the, on the property that is next to it, where the sign
Right.
is. If you
Has-
had to.
Has
But-
anyone, if we have to wait, is there any way to make that sign that's there stand out a little more? Sherry, have people talked about that?
not to my knowledge, Joanna. That was there. Oh, it's been there since at least 2010. And I looked at it the other day, and it needs some reinforcement and a paint job.
Mhm.
Uh,
So if we don't,
These photos were taken this week.
yeah, if we don't get the banner there, maybe there's something we could do to kind of jazz that up a little bit.
Marching
Well,
band.
it's a bleak day that I took. This is a very
Like the
bleak
drop.
picture.
Yeah, well, you've got all kinds. I mean, you've got a bookstore back there. You've got East Wing Galleries parking for it. Gallery
Coastal
31,
Craft.
Coastal Craft Gallery, Oceana. Those are just all off the top of my head.
Yeah, it's kind of a huge asset for the
is.
town.
It
Right.
is.
Even if
Less
you did
parking.
excuse me, even if you did landscaping instead of boring grass.
Well, who owns that piece
Get
of
an OIP
property?
project, perhaps. No.
Probably state, Claire,
Yeah.
I would think.
And
Well,
Mary,
I think a banner is better on a pole, and I think that pole, I think we should do our best to try to get the town to get the approval of putting it on that pole. That is what makes the most sense. And if we can't and we need a backup, then, we can look at putting something maybe in that space. But I think the first try, without really indicating that we have a big plan for a backup, is to try to get it on that pole.
agree.
I'm wondering if we should, this is a matter, I think, of consistency. If everyone's going to be looking and noticing the
Right.
other banners around the town, this one would be awkward if it was anything but the same
I would
setup.
agree.
Having
Absolutely.
a double banner there.
Mhm.
I
Okay,
mean,
so
part of it is the whole visual identity reinforcement for the cultural district and the community. So
I agree.
Okay,
so
another one?
got to get through to Mary.
can you hear me?
Yes.
Oh, yeah,
Yep.
she's back. Good.
Okay, this is what I'm calling West Main Street, for lack of a better term, but there's a nice little light pole there next to Vintage and Vogue, and I thought that might make a nice one. George wanted a higher density than we had talked about of these banners on Main Street, which is funny because we thought there'd be more pushback the other way. But I thought that might be a nice spot for one because it's directly across the street from the one that will say Main Street Square, so it kind of ties things together a little. Doesn't look so all by itself there.
Right.
It's near
Um,
that mural too, which is nice.
That's true. That's a good point. And the cemetery, which is got
Yeah,
a historic
Right.
marker right there.
there's kind of a cute little garden back there.
Yeah, that's a sweet spot. So then we move towards the intersection here, which is it's really grim in the winter. Boy, these pictures are rough. So there's
Good to that's
Point
why you
Village,
need banners. You know, it's a good idea to say, you know, you need banners to liven things up. So that's okay.
Absolutely.
This is like the worst side of Orleans, looking at the mobile station. Boy, this is rough. So there is a decorative light post on each corner. But if we pick the opposite corners from those where the giant DOT lights go out, I think they'll get the most play.
Yeah, I agree.
Good choice.
So that we just did like kitty corner there. So
So I'm sorry, you would go with the other ones then?
the ones
You
where
would
the red
go-
The
arrows
other,
are,
the opposite.
the two
The
red
opposite
arrows.
of the big
You
arm.
would go where the arrows are?
Yes.
Okay.
And not where the big arms are, because the big arms kind of detract a bit.
Oh, the
trying to
big
get-
arms being the lights? You're talking about the
Yes.
lights? Okay,
Mhm.
yeah, agree.
Yeah, there are poles next to those lights, but they are so tight. It's
Yeah.
even worse at the other intersection.
Yeah.
So, okay, so those two, so welcome you into town. Just showing you again where they are from the mobile station,
Yep.
looking over at Watson's and Steve Gallant.
Good visibility.
Yeah, they're pretty clear. There's not a lot of clutter around them. And then the firehouse, which we're still calling the old firehouse, but the town might want to call it a community center. I'm going to push for old firehouse personally.
Old Firehouse, we will parade for that.
Okay,
Yeah.
good.
I agree.
So here's the January photograph. And this is when I realized this was so out of date, when George said, we're going to use the new poles. And I'm like, oh, because look at the new pole. Isn't that nice?
Oh.
Oh,
It's gorgeous.
beautiful.
Of
Beautiful.
course, it helps that it was
Like a
taken in
little
summer.
guy at Buckingham Palace with a little cap on.
I know. But it sure beats this
Yeah.
bleak look here.
Right,
Oh, God.
right.
And it's right in front of Parish Park, which is really sweet. So
Right.
that obviously would say Old Firehouse on one side. So then Main Street itself, there's a pole there that might work. And then they've
Oh.
added some more when they put those bump outs. So
Right.
we've got
Oh,
some new poles to look at,
Good.
and kind of just showing you where they all are. There's a lot of them. This is why George was saying we could do like I tried to make them more obvious by highlighting them in yellow. Obviously they're black poles.
Yeah.
I
Don't
think
worry, they're not wrapped in
Oh,
yellow.
A
I
lot.
think there's a total of 16.
Yeah,
Total.
you'd think I would
Yeah.
have counted, but I haven't.
It's
But,
at Old Colony Way in Maine, and then 6A in Maine, and then 28 in Maine.
yeah, so we're moving down. These are pretty close together here.
Are you
Moving-
saying that it would be sort of modeled, I think in Hyannis, they're fairly close. Is that so what he's thinking in that along those veins? So I wonder if, you know, if you think the selectmen would have any hesitation around it, maybe we see if Melissa or someone has a picture of the banners on Main Street, because those are pretty frequent, I think.
Yeah, I have photos of Sandwich and Hyannis. They're a little dated, but I think they're still the same kind of thing. And Hyannis actually has a double pole banner as well. I can dig those out.
One
So,
of the things Hyannis has is they have some that are the shape of sail,
right.
Right.
and they're complementary to the banners with words, but they don't all have a message on them.
Mhm.
That's
Oh,
what they do in the really high density, and that could easily be done, provided we have the money to buy them.
so you're talking about just a solid color and a shape?
Yeah, I have
Mm.
a picture of those actually. I can dig those out after we look at this.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
this is
like
looking back.
The outline of the wave or something, as
Mhm.
opposed to just,
Mhm. Cool.
So this is a hot mess down here. There's just so many black poles. It's like a joke. I mean, I don't even know why they put the decorative poles in there. You can't even see them.
Right.
They're literally right
Yeah.
smack
Oh,
next to the
okay.
poles.
Yep.
So they're pretty useless for our purposes. Yet there is a pole over by the church that's a little better. Might
Yeah,
work.
that one's not bad.
Yeah. It helps that it's got a white background.
Right. It's going to be good there.
Yeah, that's probably a good spot. Not so sure. The red one I'm not crazy about.
No.
It's just too close.
Yeah, and
No,
all
it's just
those
so much-
signs. No.
this-
There's
yeah, it's
so
too
much signage there. It's
Yeah.
just unbelievable.
And then East Orleans is a bit of a problem because the poles that I thought were town poles, excuse me, sorry, my daughter seems to have locked herself in the bathroom at the shop and I'm at home. So Dave has gone to rescue her. So that's what the phone calls are about. It's kind of funny. So I thought I'd share it. So anyway, these poles are apparently privately owned, even though they're on town property. George can't figure out how that happened, but we can't use them. They're also too short. So,
Right.
so now we're looking back and we've got the N-Star problem again, but I still feel really strongly that we need to have a voice in East Orleans. Or we're going
Absolutely.
to lose credibility.
Yeah.
So we just need to push on the
On
getting
an
permission for
N-Star.
those poles.
Yeah.
Okay, so basically, the new looking at about 16 of them. And that's pretty much what we just discussed.
Well, I think in the budget, when I'm looking back and say what we had allocated, we had 11 banners that the Signorama already has the check for. And then we had allocated 3 additional banners, which would bring that count to 14. So it sounds like we may need to look at how to allocate for 2 additional banners.
I have one thought about Rock Harbor. The one that's closest to the Coast Guard boat, down there at the edge, huge wind. I don't know that it's going to last.
Oh, that's an interesting thought.
It's really friends down there that have American flags. They're just shredded.
Huh.
So I don't know if it's going to work. I don't know that it won't, but it's just it catches a lot of wind off the bay.
Yeah, seems more wind than ever lately too.
Yeah.
I don't know. I just thought,
I think it's a really good point, because then you'd be replacing the banner every year.
yeah, I'm afraid you would be. I mean, maybe it's worth trying it for 1 year and then moving it further toward Captain Cass later, or anyway, just a thought.
In the summer.
Mary, if we had to go with 14 right now to help this project get through town hall and back to the vendor so that we can have banners, we pretty much have them rank ordered, right? And they're all fairly close together. I mean, right now we don't have East Orleans resolved, so that would be 2.
Yeah, I mean, I think I would rather see the one by the Methodist, is it Methodist? The church at 28 and Main Street.
Yeah.
That one I would lose. I'd rather see another one in front of the library instead of there. So that could get rid of one. And you could get rid of the one in West Main as well. They may force us to get rid of the one on 6A that says Main Street Square.
Didn't we allocate money for the extra 4 that you were?
No, we allocated money for extra 3,
Extra 3.
which brings it to 14.
Right. And how much is each banner,
I
Mary?
knew you were going to ask me that.
Just ballpark.
I have to look at the estimate.
I would just say, looking at 3 additional banners was $435. So that means that they're 100 and what would that be? 100,
maybe one.
about 150,
Yeah, 150.
140, yeah, somewhere around there.
So when we were talking about our budget, there are some ways that we could repurpose what we have encumbered for
Right.
something else. So I think we should think of 16, and we will just repurpose what we're going to do with what we set aside for. An example was, I think, some kind of huge event that would celebrate Main Street
Right.
when they cut the ribbon, which with COVID they probably won't do. And I think there's about $289.
$289 in marketing, advertising, and promotion.
Right,
So that
so-
could be, and that the banners are a part of marketing, so it doesn't actually change the purpose of
Oh,
that
that's good.
amount of money. It just
Correct.
repurposes it.
Right.
So I think
So-
I would suggest that I agree with, I think we should go with the 16 and just be a little pushy with getting them through and getting the approval from
Right.
the Eversource.
I mean, Mary, you've done so much work.
Fabulous,
that
great job.
It's just outstanding. And so I would like to move that whatever it takes, we go for the 16 so that we can have the work done and have them
one-
start.
Yeah.
I'm sorry to
agree.
interrupt before you take that motion. Something we're not considering is if these are double hung,
Right.
which we can push back on. We don't have to do that. I mean, our original plan, we've been through this for years, and our original plan was to go with a single double-sided banner.
Right.
Some of them are going to say Rock Harbor, and some of them are not going to say anything but Cultural District. And we could do that, but I don't know how much more it's going to cost to do an additional 9 small banners on the side
Right.
with a different bracket.
Mm.
That's a lot to ask of us to do an extra 9.
What about the money we've got for Art Week that didn't happen?
I would hold off on that until we get to that
Okay,
discussion, but I think you are talking there, you've got a couple of possibilities. I mean, one thing is that as Luis suggested, that we could approach the local cultural council for some of the additional money to go with the change in the brackets. We could approach the town and say, you know, like you're suggesting that we do this, and we had allocated this amount of money. I mean, I think that we probably should get some re-estimates from Sinorama on, you know, what it would cost and what the, you know, and then we have a plan. But I think you've got 2 options, and I think if the local cultural council will consider grants under $500, I think you're probably talking in that range for modifying it, and then we can work with whatever else we have.
I have one other, we haven't really talked about the banners in the detail that you presented today, Mary, and I mean, share that with the chamber. If I were a business person and I'm trying to survive, which they all are, these banners are going to bring some life to Main Street, which we all need. And so I would like to set up something with Noelle and have her look at this and present it to her board so that their board at least knows what we're doing. And one never knows what might come out of that.
I think it would be helpful if we had a cost estimate first,
Mm-hmm.
because then we know what we're up against.
mm-hmm.
I think Claire's right. We need to cost it out. And then, Mary, I wanted to ask you in terms of what you felt the next step was vis-a-vis the town. You know, for those of us who've been dealing with this for I don't know,
Lifetime.
7
Years.
So, at some point, we're going to need to, you know, catch some fish, or we're always just going to be playing around with a worm. So,
Same.
I'm just wondering, Joanna, I like your idea about the chamber. I'm wondering whether or not the support would be greater if at least some of these were up and people saw them.
Right.
I don't know.
Right, and then fundraise for the rest. But how far are we, Mary, in terms of George actually going to the select board and getting them to say, go ahead?
Very close. He's just waiting to hear from me.
All right, so I think we should do that first. And then, you know, whatever
true.
it takes for us to get those all up together, if we have to stand on the street or something, you know, I think we need to just go for it. It's been way too long.
Should we have a motion today to entertain and designate Mary to meet with the town planner and our liaison for the community with the OCD to show our support in moving forward, so that if they were able to work something out and go to the select board for their information and whatever, that Mary doesn't have to come back to us for that? Because what I'm hearing is consensus of conceptual support and the authority to go forward to work out any of the fine details. And as Claire says, make sure your estimates are up to date, et cetera.
So
Um,
moved.
I'll be happy to, as part of that subgroup, help with whatever might need to be done as well. So does that make sense to have as something to move forward?
Yes.
Sherry, I think the select board pretty much wants to be told what we're doing, and they just want to be informed. So I think if we iron this all out with George,
Yes.
say this is what we've decided, I think the select board will be on board with it. I think they just want to know what's going on in town. You know what I mean?
Yes. Okay. Well,
I don't think they want to, make a decision about how many there are. They just
Right.
want to, they want it to be presented to them, and so they know what's going on. But I think we should iron out the details with George and then go to the board and say, this is what we're doing. Because that's our job.
Right.
Actually,
works for me.
And
Yeah.
the details are that we do have some need to get approval from Eversource for like blah, blah, blah number of banners. And that we're going to, the other detail would be to cost out what the total would be. And I think, so it would be on cost and on the approval from using not the poles that are not owned by the town.
Mary, what do you think?
yeah, I mean, I think first step would be going back to Sinorama and getting a cost for the double-sided and update the single-sided cost since it's now over a year old.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then, yeah, George, working with George is really helpful because he's going to present it to the board to keep it succinct and keep them informed. It's really more his job too. I mean,
Yeah.
we can certainly be there, but the public comment part of BOS meetings is kind of, it's awkward now with the Zoom thing. So
Right.
it's kind of nice that George can just go ahead and show it to them and put it in the packet or whatever.
It
He's going
is.
to take care of all that.
And I think they're trying to keep those select board meetings, from going on and on and on. So that as succinct as we can be
Right.
is good for George.
Yeah, I don't think he would just take care of it for us. He's offered
Yeah.
to, and I think that's their preferred.
Great.
So Mary, do you have a sense of what you want this OCD committee to give as support for this going forward today?
Yeah, I think, I mean, you know better than I about the whole record keeping end of this, but it seems like a motion to support the concepts that were laid out in this report would be perfect.
All right, so moved.
Moved by
second.
Joanna, seconded by Gail,
Second, yeah.
and Bonnie's taking minutes and Claire is back. Claire, we have a motion to
Sorry.
support this.
Great. Second.
No further discussion. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The motion passes unanimously. Bonnie.
Yep.
All right.
So next on the agenda.
Or whatever, Mary, on that. Are we ready to move on to the next item on the agenda?
I just see that Pam joined us. Thank you. Hey,
Yeah.
Pam.
And it says OCD product, Pam.
Oh, right on cue. Pam, do you have anything?
No, we never got sort of everything blew up before we got organized to go through all of it. And we definitely haven't had any chances to go to events and sell anything. So no.
Well, why don't we table
Yeah.
that agenda item for this time then?
It's just
And-
getting cold up in the attic of the old firehouse. And
They're preserved.
I guess the question is, does Friends need any more stuff from us?
You mean,
Because weren't they selling our stuff?
well, they gave us a part of their big celebration, they gave us a space and that's when we sold it. But
Okay, I thought they were selling our mugs or something like that otherwise. No.
I think they might have at some point. I have a few mugs that they had out there, but I don't think they're doing that now.
Okay.
I think that if we have an opportunity, when the banners go up, to revise
Oh,
that, of have
nice
something
idea.
where, you can say, okay, and to support the cultural district, go to Friends and buy your mug or buy whatever. So
Yep, there's sweatshirts, all kinds of stuff, I think.
I see Peter's joined us as well.
I'm sorry, I had been under the weather and got a late start.
Hi, Peter. Good
Welcome,
to
Peter.
see
We
you.
now have a full quorum here.
Yeah,
Wow.
wonderful.
The next item is the sculpture follow-up, the 2020 seasonal sculpture. Who's speaking
So,
to that?
yeah, so we had talked a little bit about the baseball sculpture, and Claire has contacted Michael and it still is available. So just because we're squeaking into 10 minutes of 11, just make it as brief as possible. If we could have a motion to pursue a meeting with the board of the Cardinals to see if they would support that. And we have set aside encumbered money for that. So we had a meeting with OIA last Friday. They are not doing another lighted sculpture this year. They are working on some other projects, and we had a
Joanna?
really great meeting about that. But I think
Excuse me.
we need to know if the cultural district is willing to at least meet and pursue an interest on the part of the Cardinals. The sculpture itself is already manufactured. It was one of the first ones that Michael had made and was purchased by a man who had a baseball shop in Sandwich, but he moved to Falmouth. He's not allowed to use it. So there are some tweaks that Michael has to do, and it would run somewhere around $900. So I'm talking fast, but we do have a commitment from the Cultural Council that they would continue to help us last for our Duke. They contributed half, and I believe they would be willing to contribute the other half of that 900. So we've set aside that amount, I think $1,000, Claire.
Yes.
And so we have the cost covered. We would ask them to be responsible for purchasing the lights.
We have partially, the cost is partially covered, Joanna. Let's be very clear on that what we have to do is we have to purchase the sculpture from the owner of the sculpture, and that would be the $900 figure that you're talking about. Michael does believe that it needs to be reworked, and I've asked him for an estimate on that, both in time and money, and we're waiting for that. That will be an additional cost, and we'll have to look at who we can collaborate with to get that, because we do not have that additional money in the budget.
What about storing it off season?
Well, there is for the baseball people, you mean, if we did it?
Yeah.
I would most likely think it would be stored underneath the bandstand. There's space under there. And I think that could be determined by the Cardinal group. Or,
Well,
excuse me, Firebirds.
Firebird. Are we asking the Firebirds for money? I mean, I thought that was part of the deal.
Well,
Yeah.
we haven't physically met with them.
Okay.
And so I think we need permission. We need to decide if we want to pursue this, and we should meet with them as soon as possible. And
But yes, Gail, I think that we are. I mean, because we don't know what the added costs are for the rework. So, I mean, I think if we say that the cultural district and the cultural council will purchase it, but that we need to have your help in paying for the rework of the actual sculpture. I mean, I
Yeah.
think it's certainly a viable ask.
Absolutely. I think it's only going to be good advertising for them.
Absolutely.
And I think
Where would we display it?
excuse me?
In the ball field. There
Where would
be-
it be displayed?
Oh, the site that most everyone is, thinks would be the best would actually be in front of the holly trees that are by the traffic lights, so that you would have a 14-foot Ted Williams at the bat every time you went through the stoplight.
Cool.
Is
So-
there power there, Joanna?
Yes, there is power there. And it was a site that the chamber looked at some time ago for whether or not, and they also light those holly trees every year, so they're used to having something there. So there is power.
Sounds like a win-win.
So we
Yeah.
need a motion.
I move that we approach the
I think
Firebirds.
we need to know what
I'll
the
second.
cost is that Claire mentioned before you go to them.
I'm sorry, what? What did you say, Peter? I didn't
I
get
said, I
that.
think you need to find out the specific cost. I think you need to get the specific cost of what the other restoration work's gonna be before you talk to them.
I would agree. I think what we're looking for now is permit, you know, is the agreement that we
Yeah,
will
what do you-
approach
yeah,
them.
What are you asking for? Yes,
Form a
no, I agree with that.
subcommittee.
That would be great. So Pam, you had some interest in this early on in the year.
I mean, I
So-
have, I know people with the Firebirds.
All right. Would you
So I
like to
can
be
always-
on the team, on the
Yep, I
committee?
can help them.
Okay. Anyone else?
I'm willing to meet with the Firebirds.
All right, cool.
Pam,
Pam, Gail,
Sure.
myself. All right.
Pam, Gail,
So
Joanne.
what, wait a second, what is this motion?
The motion is that
I know.
the, I move that the,
I thought we were going to
Can
form.
can we
a-
vote on if we're gonna approach them and then we get to decide who's gonna do it?
right. I move that we vote on I move that we vote to approach the Firebirds about joining us on with creating a new seasonal sculpture.
Okay,
Second.
All those in favor?
There is second. Is
Yes.
Second,
there any
Aye.
further discussion? Then the motion is to have some people meet with the Firebirds to see if they want to cooperate with us in putting together such a seasonal sculpture.
And Claire, can you talk to Michael about the price?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
All in favor?
Aye.
aye,
Opposed?
Aye.
Motion passes. The next item on the agenda is the artist series with Nos It Together We Can and the Old Firehouse. Who's speaking to that, please?
I will, do we have any time constraints on these meetings? I'll just say that I met with the facilitator for the after-school program, and we had a brief discussion over the possibility of taking the artist series that we had planned for Art Week and converting it to providing art classes in the old firehouse with a scholarship set up. And this would support artists who show at the Coastal Craft Gallery, approach the person who has the drawing room, art studio lessons around the corner from the old firehouse. But all of this is on pause until the schools get their schedules sorted out and whether there is the possibility of an after-school program. I would like to pursue that because it supports local artists and it provides something for students who are at this moment, you know, spending most of their time on screen. So it's all on pause right now, but it's an idea worth pursuing.
But
I
there's
think what you're
action needed
specifically,
taken today.
Excuse me?
There's no action needed to be taken.
No action needed.
Claire,
did you have something?
no, I think what we need to do is probably put that off to the next meeting because the schools will have more information. I think
Right.
what we were interested in was changing the audience, for the workshops to
Yeah.
students.
We'll add that to the list of what's been tabled then. Thank you. Maps?
Maps, we can table those too because we've not been able to meet and everything is pretty much the way it is. The I Spy map is ready to go with new photographs. But now there's the talk of a large mural on the side of Mid-Cape. The deadline for that was extended. I did speak with the person in charge of that last week, and we'll have a follow-up from her. One of the things that's good is people are approaching the cultural district, and there's a role that we can play in that, but I think we'll keep the I Spy map on pause until we find out whether they actually do come through with another mural, which would add, would impact the I Spy map. So there's no
Right.
action to be taken on that.
Okay,
Thank you. Then that's tabled. The Cultural District sign replacement project.
I just got an email from Luis today. We shared the email that he had sent before about his frustration with it, that the signs will be delivered this week.
Yes, we got this and he's so excited. Everything is in capital letters. He has a great sense of humor. There's a problem. The only thing that slowed those signs down was they all need to be done at the same time. And there's 5 different designs and the fabricator was a little slow with one of them, but now they're done and they should arrive. So we can actually approach DPW, and Mary, you have the locations for the replacement of some of the other signs. So we could probably schedule a meeting with Tom Daly or Ron or whoever's in charge of that and see if we could get them up by Thanksgiving. Would be fantastic. You can dream.
A question I have about the protocol with that, do we need to go with George, go to George on that again?
No, he's fully aware of those
Of
signs.
the locations though?
I think
I've handed it to him, but not recently. Hasn't changed any, but I gave him,
so
I've
he's
sent
aware.
him those before.
Yeah, right. And since we are talking about that, I did talk to the Cape Cod Commission about our new signs and also about our banners. And this was part of their streetscape wayfinding that they're working on. And they had not received any information about either the new signs or about the banners. So I sent them everything that we had and they were beside themselves. They were very excited about it all. So they have been informed and that will be included in whatever report they make.
Okay.
Okay.
Who's gonna go to the DPW? Who's gonna?
Well, the signs will be delivered there. So
Okay.
I think the first thing is to make sure they're there.
Last
And then,
time George was our conduit, I believe.
right.
And it's now 11 o'clock. Is it the pleasure of the group to stay in session?
Yeah.
I can stay a little longer.
I've got a few more minutes, but not a lot.
Okay.
Back to this cultural district sign thing. It does seem like as a courtesy, we should let people know that they're coming and that we're moving forward. You know what I mean? It's been so long. Just
What
to
pe- what
say.
pe-
Yeah, what if somebody at DPW says we don't know what those are, take them back? We want to make sure they.
Exactly. That's what I'm thinking. Just say, hey, we're so excited. These are coming. Please receive them. And then you'll get instructions because I'm with you, Pam.
They're not gonna remember. They're gonna put them back. Can't we just do it? Hey, remember this from a long time ago?
Right.
Yeah.
They're finally
Right.
here.
I was just looking back at
Good idea.
quickly report of the locations. And we never resolved the one that I was hoping we could do where the fences that now has no signs on it
Oh,
at
right.
Sneaky Corners. So
No,
we want to, I think my recollection was we wanted to move it to where when you first come off the highway from Boston, is
Yeah.
there's a spot there. That was what
yeah,
we.
where it says Orleans, yeah.
Okay, so
Yeah.
I'll update that and send that around because I have the other locations. I'm not 100% sure we can just bang them into the ground there. I think that's going to require a little bit of checking.
Well, I guess we go back to Gail's question then. Who is connecting with George and who's going to be doing the follow-up?
I mean, I kind of started that, so I'd be happy to try to do that again.
Yeah, I'd be happy to help you, Mary.
Yeah, I can back you up since I helped you with the locations.
That's right,
Yeah.
Pam, you and I did that. Yeah.
Mhm.
Okay, that would work.
So we
That'd be
need to
great.
contact George.
I'll get a photo of the that other spot in Orleans, when you come off the highway, and add it to that report and share it with you guys. So
Yeah, let me know if you need me to. I have to go out Outer Cape and do photos for my book group that's reading Mayflower. So I do a camera trip up Cape anyway. So if you need more photos, let me know.
great.
Let me see, what else?
Well, looking ahead at the agenda, item number 4, collaborative funding considerations. Should we keep in an order of priority for the
Sure.
holiday season?
Yeah, I
Want to start
crossed
with the
off,
lighting?
right. I crossed off the word funding because it really is about the collaborative considerations that have been going on. Even though we haven't been able to meet, there are things that are happening, and I really see this role of the cultural district emerging as kind of the pulse and the connector of different organizations. And it's really been great, even though the phone rings sometimes, that unexpectedly we have a number of things that I think I just want to mention. I sent the informational emails to you, and I wanted to say that the restoration of the portrait for the Duke, that wouldn't even have happened if we hadn't been looking for research for the sculpture, for the 14-foot sculpture of the Duke. And the Duke got brought out of the closet where he was hiding for all these years. So I really feel that the Cultural District was initially the group that brought this forward. And I want to report that tonight at 7, the Orleans Cultural Council is meeting, and it is on their agenda to begin by initial funding to move that restoration forward. So I think it's great news, and it's another example of collaboration between the district and the council. Eyes on the Trees, I sent that out because this is a new program that the chamber is doing to get families to become more involved. And I think it's a really creative idea. And I know that that is also coming up on the Cultural Council's agenda this evening. And I believe that they will also support that.
Are they
So-
looking for, now that, are they looking for money from us for the gift cards?
Right, it would be great if we did that, but we don't really have that much in extra funding, especially if we're going to do banners. So just the gesture of the Cultural Council sending something to that program, I think would be
A
enough.
mug or a hat or
Oh, now there's a tote bag.
Hey, that's a great idea. I'll run that by Noel.
That is a good
That would
idea.
be fantastic. You can have your Christmas cocoa in a cultural district mug. Fantastic idea, Pam. And let me see. Seasonal lighting is the last Saturday of November 28th, and all of the lighting will be turned on, and there will be an additional lighting of the large tree at Academy Place at Veterans Park. And that was also a little behind the scenes collaboration in terms of partnering the OIA with the group that is involved in bringing that park, making some additions to that park. So the huge evergreen tree that is there will be lit for the first time this coming season, and it's the result of a collaboration.
That's great.
Yeah, it really is. And other than that, I've talked about the Mid-Cape mural, so I think that's the extent of our collaborations. We did have an inquiry about funding or working with a basketball court adjoining the children's playground on Eldridge Parkway. And I sent that information on to the Orleans Improvement Association because they were the people who funded that new park. And so that's just kind of up in the air right now. And the only other thing we have left is to talk about our next meeting, I think. Did I forget anything else?
Nope. So what are we talking about for the next meeting? Do we talking about, first of all, deciding whether this is a good time frame, and then how often are we going to be meeting?
It's fine with me, this time frame.
Is 10 o'clock good for
Yeah,
everyone?
that's fine.
Yeah.
That's for me.
Mhm.
I have a weekly meeting at Monday at 10 that I have to go to.
Monday at 10.
So that's
Yes, Monday at 10 every week.
All
So-
right. So
Oh.
could we do Tuesday?
It's only a half-hour meeting, so we could do 9 or we could do 10:30. but-
Yeah. Andrea, our liaison for the board, works on Mondays. So she will watch whatever we do online. But if she wanted to be present, we would have to change the meeting to a Tuesday or something like that.
I vote to change to Tuesday.
Me too.
All right.
fine
That's
with
no
me.
problem.
What time?
10 o'clock seems to work. Is
To
that
11.
10 to 11?
Yeah, that's fine.
Want to make
Peter,
Yeah.
Peter, does that work for you?
How about you, Pam? Does that work if you
Yeah.
just come in late? Okay.
Yeah, I don't-
then-
She's not
I only
coming
go
in
in one
late.
day. I only go in on Wednesdays, so.
all right.
Tuesday works.
Tuesday at 10. And do you want to do it 2 weeks from now, or because we have these things in the air that we need to report on? Is that too much of a push?
Yes,
I think it is too much of a push.
yeah.
Okay.
Let's see.
Want to
One-
suggest some other dates?
What about the 10th?
The 10th,
November?
10th of November.
Okay,
Is that a holiday? Oh, no, it's 11.
No,
11th is a holiday.
Someone checking that calendar?
Steering committee of a core group that could communicate as the information comes in. I think there were 4 items that we tabled today that
Mhm.
we want to get to as well. If we're going to do some of this for the holiday season, it's almost, I mean, I don't mean to be negative, but time
No,
is
I mean, if,
pressing on.
oh, absolutely. I mean, the issue
Yeah.
with Michael Magar and the sculpture, for example, I mean, how much time he's going to need to reconfigure it, and then the putting
Yeah.
of the lights up. I mean, that has to be done before. I mean, we have moved ahead. We have approval from this group to go ahead, and we just need to get that done. So hopefully, by the time we have the next meeting, there would have been a meeting with the Firebirds, and we would also have an estimate from him. So I'll be pushy with getting an estimate from him, and telling him basically that the purchase of it is conditional on well, I mean, not conditional, but we'd like to have it up this year. So that's the question: can we do it?
right.
Yeah.
So there's one thing to keep in mind, is it does not have to be as detailed as the Duke. So it could be simple white lines and some red, and and we could the concept is to involve some of the Firebirds people. And so it certainly wouldn't take as much time.
Could I
as-
suggest that we meet on Tuesday, November 3rd, which is 2 weeks from
No.
tomorrow?
No, that's election.
Election day, there's no way.
Oh,
It's election day.
We'll all be at church
Oh.
praying.
I agree, Pam. I'm reserving that for biting my nails. Yeah. Okay, the 10th. But I think by the 10th, we would have to have had some things done. And so that's what
Right.
I'm gonna contact Michael as soon as we get off this and see.
And I'll
what he
contact
can
my
do.
Firebirds person too today.
Okay,
Yeah, and
The lighting, that's really only giving like 2 weeks to get the thing lit, you know what I mean? Before the lighting on November 28th.
well, I think if it's not detailed and if they agree, then we can just begin to move forward.
And they haven't, without the season, they probably have volunteers that are, happy to
Maybe.
do stuff.
maybe.
For something to do, yeah.
Right. I mean, they need, just because not having the season, a real season, this is a way to bring people around who support
Yeah.
the
But the
Firebirds.
timeline is quite tight. So that
Correct.
was I mean, when we met with the OIA people, there was definitely one person that said this can't happen in time. So we're gonna see. I mean, it may
Yeah.
not happen in time for the lighting, but if it doesn't happen for the actual lighting and it's up for the holiday,
Yeah, sounds
Yeah.
good.
that can work.
Right. So
Okay.
Pam, so we will meet and set a time to meet with them. Pam, will you do, where are you?
I think she's on it.
She's gone already. All right, 11:10 at 10 o'clock. Is that correct?
Yes,
do I hear a motion to adjourn?
so moved.
Second,
Second,
Second.
moved by
If
Claire,
anybody is,
seconded by Gail.
Mary,
but us, yeah, I'm sorry, were you looking for a second?
Mary,
no, did you
Gail
have something you had to say,
motion.
Mary?
I was simply repeating it for the sake of Bonnie, who's finishing up the minutes, I think. All in favor of adjourning this meeting at this time, please raise your right hand.
Mary, I just want to shout before we leave, Mary, thank you for all of your work.
Thank you all.
amen.
Yeah, it's been great.
Okay.
And
anyone-
Sherry, thank you for being the Zen master of Zoom.
If anybody wants to see those double-sided banners, I can just put them up right now. It's not part of the meeting, but I have a couple photos if you want to see
Oh,
what they look like.
yes,
That would be great.
definitely.
Okay, just before we leave, I'll
We
just,
don't get cut off by this.
Oh, you can put them on the screen?
We're
yeah,
still
here.
recording.
Nice.
so these are from different towns.
Oh,
I
okay.
found these
Oh,
online.
okay.
Got it.
Yep,
That's what it, double-sided like that.
okay,
Yeah, they do
Different
have more
shapes.
impact, don't they?
yeah.
What-
I
Yeah,
like
they
them.
do.
Like the rectangular ones.
Yeah, they're
Great,
kind of cool.
Terrific.
I was thinking ours would be half the size. The one that has the place name would be half the size, though. I don't know.
they
It's a
wouldn't be
small-
matching sizes?
Yeah, I mean, I was kind of thinking it could be smaller on the side that says Main Street Square and larger on the side that says Cultural District. Just because the scale of our town is much smaller than what we're seeing here.
Mhm.
How would that look visually?
If the colors go, I think it could look cool. I always thought that was a good design. Then these I always thought were very funny. The pole dancers on the.
Yeah,
Oh,
that's
no,
funny.
that is hilarious.
Oh, my God.
Hey,
I just had to.
where are the male ones?
I-
Right.
Yeah, this was an example of too much, just over.
Yeah.
Intensity is insane.
I really have a question about how two different size banners would look next to each other.
Because all these are symmetrical.
Yeah,
True.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, we could just go with that.
I think we should.
Yeah, I
Unless
agree.
somebody
I think-
says no.
Yeah, I think they should be this rectangular like this, not some extra small ones. It needs to be symmetrical.
Anyway, I just wanted to,
I
great.
don't mind that asymmetrical, but that's me.
Thank you, Sherry.
You're fine with asymmetrical as one of you. So you're, more modern,
Yeah,
Our town isn't modern.
No,
The aesthetic of town isn't.
It's more, but they're, because we have areas that are crowded, if you have two different sizes, it's a different energy than, you're going to add more of a crowded feeling, I think. But anyway, Mary, thank you so much for all
Yeah.
of that.
I don't think it's
Guys,
gonna,
for your patience.
it should slow us down.
Okay, I'm leaving the meeting. Thanks,
All right,
guys.
then.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Thanks.
Bye.